Okay, I will call the January 2nd, 2024 regular meeting of the Mill Creek City Council to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Would the Mayor Pro Tem lead us off? What's Councilmember Vignal?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adrian,
We're gonna do the oaths first.
we're gonna do those after we do the swearing in.
We'll start with oaths and then roll.
Okay.
Wait, but technically they're not here.
Technically, they're not
They're
here
not
yet.
here to.
Rolled. Floor is yours.
All right, I will start with Councilmember Paddock. I, Sean Paddock, do solemnly swear
I, Sean Paddock, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the states,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington,
of the state of Washington,
and that I will faithfully and impartially perform and discharge
and that I will faithfully perform and discharge
the duties of the office of the City of Mill Creek,
the duties of the office of the city of Mill Creek,
Council Position 7 for a 4-year term,
council position 7 for a 4-year term,
according to law, to the best of my ability.
according to law, to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank
Next, Cavaleri.
Do we want to?
Oh, let's swear them both in and then we'll
Okay.
do pictures.
All right, you can raise your right hand. I, Vince Cavaleri,
I, Vincent,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution,
and laws of the United States and the Constitution
Constitution,
and laws of the state of Washington,
of the state of Washington,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
faithfully and impartially
and discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
of City of Mill Creek Council Position 5
of the city of Mill Creek Council Position 5
for a 4-year term according to law,
for a 4-year term according to law.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
You guys want to go down to family fix and we'll all join you?
We can pick the family or?
Pick the
Sure.
family, you're
Your
taking them.
family, yeah. We'll mess them up in the enterprise. Like, start. Senior. Look at that proud wife.
I could so bomb that photo right there.
Yeah, you get out of that photo, Brian. Get a little Brian head.
Yeah. Shall we all? Or should we do it next week when we have Melissa? We swear in Melissa next week.
Yeah, let's do it next week with Melissa. We'll have the whole new council. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, congratulations, council members Paddock and Councilmember Cavaleri. And now can we do roll call, Adrian?
All right, Mayor Holtzclaw.
Councilmember Holtzclaw is present.
Councilmember Holtzclaw.
Is present.
Councilmember Vignal.
Here.
Councilmember Cavaleri.
Here.
Councilmember Steckler.
Here.
Councilmember Allison.
Here.
Councilmember Duque. And Councilmember Paddock.
Present.
Councilmember Duque had informed us she's unavailable tonight. She's traveling, so could we have a motion to excuse?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Okay, now we have a little more procedural business. We need to elect a mayor and mayor pro tem. Under our form of government, the council elects the mayor and mayor pro tem at the first meeting of each even-numbered year. The mayor is elected biannually. Our governance manual, which was revised 2 years ago and adopted under resolution number 2021-604, includes the procedures that we use to conduct the election of mayor and mayor pro tem. Our process includes procedures for nominating candidates and procedures for voting. I'll now describe these procedures. The nomination process. Candidates for mayor and mayor pro tem shall be nominated by a member of council. Nominations shall require a second to place a nominee in contention for selection. We'll first hold the election for mayor. When the nomination and election of the mayor is completed, we will conduct a nomination and election for mayor pro tem. If the council is unable to select a mayor or mayor pro tem, as the case may be, after 5 ballots, or if on any ballot containing only 2 candidates, one of the candidates withdraws his or her name from consideration before the vote on the ballot, nominations shall be reopened. If nominations are reopened, candidates that did not receive at least 1 vote during any of the preceding ballots must be nominated as set forth above. Nominations shall be reopened after every 5th ballot thereafter is needed. Any nominated candidate may withdraw from the selection process at any time except during an ongoing vote. The voting process. Our procedure for voting at the close of nominations calls for the clerk to place the names of all nominated candidates in random order on a written ballot, designating the ballot as round number 1, ballot number 1, and distributing the ballot to each council member. The procedures also call for each council member to cast 1 vote for the candidate of his or her choosing, or writing abstain on the ballot. The ballot is then signed by the council member casting the vote. The ballot is collected by the clerk, who tabulates the vote, announces the name of each candidate, the number of votes for the candidate, and the council members voting for the candidate. If no candidate obtains at least 4 votes of the council, the candidate or candidates receiving the lowest number of votes shall be removed from the ballot, provided that at least 2 candidates shall move forward to the next ballot, and the clerk shall prepare the next ballot and shall designate it as round number 1, ballot number 2. Ballot preparation and voting shall continue in that manner for 5 ballots or until 1 candidate receives at least 4 votes of the council, whichever occurs first. If no candidate is elected after 5 ballots, nominations shall be reopened as previously described, and voting shall continue in the same manner for 5 ballots or until 1 candidate receives at least 4 votes of the council, whichever occurs first. So with that being the process, seeing if there's unanimous consent, we'll begin opening the floor to nominations for mayor. Are there any nominations?
Mayor, I'd like to nominate Brian Holzclaw for mayor.
Second.
Okay, are there any other nominations? If there are no other nominations, then I will close the nomination process and would ask the clerk to prepare the ballots. We're not, oh, this has emailed ballots. This is an old script. Yes. Told Sean I drew the line and it died. I brought it along.
Okay, I'll try and read the handwriting for the signatures.
Oh.
I printed English.
I didn't.
Nice work.
Process of elimination then. Councilmember Vigneault, Brian Holtzclaw. Councilmember Holtzclaw for Brian Holtzclaw. Councilmember Cavaleri for Brian Holtzclaw. John Steckler for Brian Holtzclaw. This one was not signed. Paddock, Councilmember Paddock for Holtzclaw, and so that's Allison for Holtzclaw. Mayor, it's all yours.
Thank you. Okay, we'll now open the nominations for mayor pro tem. Are there any nominations?
I nominate Stephanie Bignall.
Second.
Are there any other nominations? Okay, hearing none, if the clerk could please prepare the ballots.
No fighters for you out in the audience, isn't it?
All right, Councilmember Allison for Stephanie Vigneault. Councilmember Vigneault for Stephanie Vigneault. Councilmember Holtzclaw for, Mayor Holtzclaw for Stephanie Vigneault. Councilmember Paddock for Stephanie Vigneault. Councilmember Steckler for Stephanie Vigneault. And Councilmember Cavaleri for Stephanie Vigneault.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Okay, we're off for 2 more years. Okay, now let's get to the exciting, more exciting stuff. Audience communication. Would anyone like to start off the year addressing the council? Anyone in chambers, anyone online? I'm seeing a nod of heads. Okay, turn over to Chief White for swearing in. Chief White.
Yeah, you were really hanging your hat on this whole thing.
It was a nail biter for you.
It was close. It was close. No, good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, and guests. We're really happy today to be in front of you today and talk about promotion of one of our officers to the rank of sergeant. Officer Eikenberry has performed his duties tremendously well over his almost 6 years now. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Yep, that's what we're saying. With the police department, he's filled roles as a field training officer. He's filled a role as an acting sergeant, as a corporal. He is a patrol tactics instructor with the Criminal Justice Training Commission. He's just been a real blessing here at the department. We thank him for his service and his ongoing service, and I'd like to call him up here to take his oath of office. Okay, go ahead and repeat after me.
It's the one he's carrying with him.
Yeah.
Heard it a lot.
If I don't figure it out, I'm gonna get yelled at.
For sure.
Raise your right hand. I state your name. I, Everett, do hereby affirm that I will never betray the trust bestowed upon me as a military police sergeant. I will always maintain my integrity, my character, and the public trust. I will have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for our actions, and will demonstrate the finest traits of a leader at all times. That's family up.
That's what the other here. No options.
Yep.
Yeah. First guy in the middle.
It's really nice.
All right, 2.
Sorry, we're waiting on, presentation. We see what everybody is here for. Okay. All right, so I'm going to be covering the 2024 project update. We're just going to go at a high level on the majority of these so we don't take up too much time, but if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer what I can. Where? All right, so we're going to start out just looking at the different projects that are going to be spanning across the entire year. Many of the different projects that we'll be starting with are going to be multi-month projects, and then they're going to be overlapping. Then we'll go into some of our other key projects that are going to be taking up pretty large chunks of time for staff. And then we'll also go and review some of the ARPA funded projects as well. So this is going to help council understand what city staff is going to be spending quite a bit of time on, just so you understand what the workload looks like or what it's planned to look like. And then we can fit any other projects that council has in as where possible. So starting with the first projects is the 1961 consulting. That's our long-term strategic planning, different visioning. We'll also have our strategic planning retreat here in the next couple meetings. So with 1961, we've got the 10 to 20 year, we've got visioning, and then we've got the strategic planning. This is going to be the first half of the year, I believe. And then we also have the comprehensive plan that's going to be all of 2024. And then we do have all of our ARPA projects. We do have to have all of our contracts executed by the end of the year. So we have roughly 1.8 million left that we need to apply projects toward. We do have some ideas that we'll be bringing forward here in the next month or two. But I don't think we have quite settled on what we want to bring forward at this time. We do have DRCC. That's a huge project that's going to be going throughout the year. We're looking at completing phase 1. We did get $1 million state grant, so that will be helping fund that progress forward. And then here in, I would say, for council, I believe you'll start seeing biennial budget stuff around August, but we will be starting that closer to May. So this is going to be a much more in-depth process than we have seen in the last probably 4 to 6 years, just because we do have staff that has been here for more than a year or half a year. So I am really looking forward to getting all of our directors really involved in this process. So this is just the timeline, just so you have an idea of where things are going to be overlapping and what all staff is going to be working on throughout the different parts of the year. And I just wanted to make sure that everyone understands this is an estimate. So some of these can go longer, some of them may be a little bit shorter. So other key projects, we've got our pavement preservation program. So that's where the city is going to be evaluating the condition of all the different city streets. We're going to look at what streets need repaired first, and then we'll be setting up a pavement repair and replacement program with that. We have our Safe Streets and Roads for All program. So we did get a $160,000 grant for this program. We'll be looking at different street and traffic patterns, different like your sidewalks, our bike paths, and the overall safety of our streets and roads.
Then we have Silvercrest Park. We have, I believe, 88,200 for our state grant, and then another, I think we have around 24,000 left on the county grant. And then we'll look at the timeline here shortly. I believe we'll be starting Silvercrest Park next month, so here in about, a month, we'll start that bidding process again, and then we'll hope to have that done by August. City Hall North, we do have 500,000 and we have from the state. So 2023 was a very good year for grant funding for us. So we'll be looking at an internal remodel and the HVAC replacement and the roof for City Hall North. So that's a big project that we'll be taking on. We're also looking at the library park drainage with our 250,000 from the county. We'll be looking at our tot lot, and we are considering ARPA for that. We had talked about it previously, but that will be something we'll have to bring to council because that would be a contract. Memorial Park, this is something that is new. I believe we still have engineers looking at estimates on cost, and then we're going to be bringing this to the state to look at funding for that project. So we'll bring you more information when we have that, but that likely will be a very large project that we'll be taking on. We have the North Creek Trail that we have $100,000 county grant on that we'll be working on. And then we also have the Sweetwater Ranch repair, the replacement design that we're looking at, and possibly a public works yard that we'll be looking into as well. As far as timelines go, you can see we've got all kinds. We have on the different construction, it's usually the concept bid and design. Bring this down, I thought. So there is a 3-step process that we go through for the different construction programs. And so that's where we had tried to lay this out so that you had an idea of where we would be throughout the year for these different projects. Well, that we can do them at the end, or I can answer them now if that's easier.
Go to this one again. I noticed
Mike,
that.
is your mic on?
I noticed that Sweetwater Ranch Stormwater Main and Public Works Yard was not on your calendar. Is that because we don't have funding for it yet, or?
I think it's a combination between, we don't know what that is gonna look like. I don't think we know specifics on where that will fall.
Okay.
Yeah, so on the replacement, I think we have the RFP that's gone out. I don't know that we've awarded that. I'm sorry.
Yes.
That's it. That's the bad one.
Evidently. The contract is in processing. It should be ready to be it should be nearly fully executed, and we'll be beginning design shortly on Sweetwater Ranch.
Any timeline estimates?
Our goal is to have it done before the wet season, so end of September.
Okay. And the Public Works Yard?
We haven't started scoping the timeline for that. We were waiting to get some more information back from the maintenance group, so we knew exactly what they needed.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll throw in a little bit there, and I think maybe it's hidden in some of the future slides here. Part of this depends on strategic planning. If we're gonna be a city of one size or another, it makes a difference whether you've got a 2-acre yard does it or whether it's a 5-acre yard. So there's a lot of things that depend on the decisions that you're gonna be taking and the discussions you're gonna have with council and the community with 1961, the strategic planning. So a lot of those things, I think Martin was trying to show that some of those are stacked out there. We need decisions made before you know what some of these projects are gonna be, and Public Works Yard is one of those.
Great. Thank you.
On ARPA, we have, for 2023, we're gonna be finishing up the citywide entryway signage. So we do have quite a few, we've had quite a few meetings on those. I think we just have the last few couple implementation details. We will be addressing the landscaping, the 50-foot setbacks, overgrowth, median improvements. That was something we were hoping to get to this year that we just weren't able to make happen. Now that we're fully staffed, we've got all of our maintenance people, we've got our engineers, that should be something that we should be able to get done, or that we will get done this year. We'll be looking at our citywide GIS, our street tree policy, tree replacement, sidewalks. And then that kind of is tied to that citywide park tree assessment. So we're gonna be looking at all of the different trees in the city. We're gonna be looking at if any of them are sick, diseased, if there are line of sight issues, that kind of thing. Do we need to replace them? What kind of policy do we want to put in place? I believe one of them, I believe the assessment and the maintenance is around 25,000. So that's gonna be to bring an arborist in to really take a look at what condition our trees are in. And then the replacement is where the bulk of the expense is at 250,000. We do know that won't be that won't be enough to replace all of the trees that may need to go. But that will address the worst issues we have, any of our trees that are pulling up the sidewalks, and we'll get those new sidewalks in as well. Parks and trail tables, so we had started part of this, but we will be either replacing or rehabilitating the different trail tables and benches, and the different park tables if they need replaced. That'll happen, or they'll be cleaned. So it's from there, we'll be looking at the citywide asset management system. So that'll help us know exactly what we have, when the last time we repaired it or replaced it was, so we'll know when we should be replacing things. And then our streetlight replacement is going to be converting all of our incandescent bulbs to LED. So that will help with expense and the life of the lights as well. I will say the city police substation, that's one of the projects that is almost done. So that is something that we'll complete here this year. Our video security system did have that first phase completed, but we do have a couple more cameras going in that we expect to be done this year. We'll be looking at our city policy manual review for the police and the personnel. At this point in time, we do have the police policy set and ready to go to legal, so they've been looking at that, but we're going to be cross-referencing that to our personnel policy to make sure that everything talks to one another, and one thing does, like one policy doesn't say this and then the police policy says that kind of thing. And then Springbrook conversion, we have started that process, but we do expect that to be complete this year. Same thing with the website replacement and overhaul. And are there any questions? Yeah.
Two more questions. I noticed on the timeline, on the proposed Memorial Park improvement, you have an asterisk, project may be subject to award of state funds, construction in 2025. I know that the hope was to go to the legislature in January to ask for funds.
Mhm.
But I thought those funds were the hope that we could get it done in 2024. Is there a different, can we ask for those funds in 2024? Did you, and then?
So we're looking at what it would cost right now.
Right.
So we will get that to them here before, I believe, the 24th of January.
Right.
So then if they award them, I mean, we'll do it as soon as possible, but I do believe they were estimating that construction would happen in 2025. And normally we can push that if we need. The state will carry that funding allocation over. If we have to, we'll make it happen in 2024.
That's what I wanted to hear. So
Yes.
if we can, we're gonna move the funds to 2025. If we can't, we're gonna get it done in 2024.
Yes.
Okay, great. And then the other question I had was on the ARPA funds. The additional cameras,
Yes.
that is something that you'll come back to us with an additional project for more cameras and more of the parks and other areas. Is that on the books? Is that in the plan, or is that not in the plan?
I do not believe that's in the plan at this point in time. We are right at that. I think it was 150,000 that we allocated, and we'd added, I think it was 3 cameras at this last
Right.
a meeting or two ago.
Right.
So I know we discussed possibly adding more at the different parks, but at this point in time, that is not in the plan.
Do we have the funds for it, or are we out of funds?
We have ARPA funding, but we would have to allocate additional ARPA funding for that program, if that's something council wants to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Separate,
So,
yeah, it'd be a separate
yeah, it would
project,
just be
but
an-
we do have more funds. We could,
Yes.
if we wanted to pursue the safest city and put more cameras out in more parks. I would like to, don't speak for the council, I don't speak for one. If we could, I'd like to see it brought to the council to see if the council would approve it.
Yeah, and keep in mind, consider this the beginning of the retreat preparation. I mean,
Yeah.
the reason we put this together was
Maybe it's a retreat discussion.
just between the comp plan, well, no, just between the comp plan, DRCC, our budget and our strategic plan. We asked the city manager to kind of map out how much time that was gonna take, and they took it one step further with all the other projects that are already underway. We just wanted to have a realistic understanding of what's already in the works before we start getting bright-eyed and bushy-tailed ideas about adding more work to the staff with everything we have on. So that's what we were trying to do, is just give everyone an indication of what's in the works already right now. And I don't think the legislature thought about when they kicked over the comp plans a year, that they're kicking them over into the budget year for the cities by kicking it into an even year. So added to our workloads, or added to the staff's workloads, I should say.
And I changed my comment. It's a great idea to bring to the retreat, obviously. And on concept and bid for the proposed Memorial Park, we're going to be doing a proposed budget in January. And then I take it, we're going to come back with a more formalized concept and bid, but in January, you will have a bid presented to legislature, correct?
No, we're gonna be going,
An amount
Yeah.
to legislature.
we're gonna be getting in a request to Senator Lovick for Memorial Park like we did with Representative Byrd for the, I'm sorry, with Jared at the county for the funding for the groundwork, so to speak.
Right.
So
Okay.
it'll be much higher level, and then, once they give us an amount, then we'll split that up and figure out what phases will be.
Correct. Okay. I didn't see that in January, so I was just wondering. Okay. That's kind of predicated on even taking that down that road, is if we don't
Yeah,
get
if
that.
we have to get the money.
Yeah, we have to get the money to even go to concept bid and design. Okay.
Other questions? Okay, thank you, Laurel. I understand the chief wants to defer item 11A for another night. And so we're moving on to the interlocal, the animal shelter. So item 11B.
Evening, once again, council, come before you for a request on approval for an interlocal agreement with the Everett, city of Everett. We've had this agreement with the city of Everett since 2013. It's for the animal shelter services and housing for animals that are brought into the shelter from the city of Mill Creek, as well as animals that we might seize out and about, running at large or strays to that effect. The ILA does have a couple changes in it for this year. They have reduced the intake fee by $35. There's also a increase of $5 for the daily housing fee. So other than that, there's not a whole lot of changes to this interlocal agreement. There are some other things that have been changed for their policies and per the the Everett City Code, which I'll be bringing forward. That was the other agenda item. We hope to be bringing those to you in the next couple council meetings if we can find some spots to bring it in. So with that, I'm just looking for approval for the ILA for the city manager to move forward.
Are there any questions in the staff report?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion.
Please.
Motion to approve an ordinance to enter an interlocal agreement between the city of Mill Creek and Everett Animal Shelter and authorize the city manager to execute a 12-month ILA for animal shelter services for the 2024 calendar year.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Who's doing the presentation on the DRB? Is Justin online? I don't see. Oh, there he is. I'm sorry, Justin. I didn't see up in the corner there.
All right, is my slides up?
Yes.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Well, good evening, council. So the proposed ordinance is to move the design review board meeting date from the third Thursday of the month to the first Thursday of the month. The time would stay the same, 5:15. And the reason we are proposing the change because with the planning commission time change, there's enough time for the DRB to meet on Thursdays, the third Thursdays. I have here a staff recommendation to adopt the ordinance. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Justin. Any questions for staff? There's no questions. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion. Motion to adopt the ordinance changing the date for the regular meeting of the Design Review Board and setting an effective date.
Second?
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you for your time.
City Engineer, Mr. Carmody.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. I've come to discuss the concrete sidewalk replacement program for the city. First, a little bit of background. Originally, this sidewalk replacement was part of our previous capital projects going back 20 some odd years. The intention for this project as part of the capital projects program was to replace damaged curbs and gutters, sidewalks, and curb ramps throughout the city. These may be ones that are just, we notice them as we go around, or citizens may bring up them and request to have them repaired. The intention would be to bring these into compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act and address problems caused by tree roots or other reasons. The benefits of having this as part of the capital project program is that it improves the pedestrian safety. It also brings us more in compliance with ADA standards, and it saves on maintenance costs, allowing us to bring the capital projects going in versus having to do quick turnaround small projects that the maintenance team may do. Our current CIP revised this to split it up into several different funds. There's the analysis and plannings portion, which is the citywide Safe Routes to School program and the citywide comprehensive safety action plan. These ones are going to create citywide analysis of the sidewalks and our pedestrian areas to find out where we actually need to do the work. Then there's an additional projects, a yearly project, which is street concrete ADA improvement projects. These ones are designed to tie in with our pavement maintenance and overlay program. They are, the capital improvement plan actually specifically says that these go along with the overlay program, would only affect those ones. So it doesn't give us the ability to go out and just fix a sidewalk. So what I would like to propose to do is to restore the original capital improvement project to repair and replace the sidewalks, independent of other paving projects. This would allow us to do either multiple smaller fixes or to bundle them together to bid them as a single project to address citizen concerns, tripping hazards, other problems as we find them. We are going to propose $100,000 per year to fund these projects from the 318 Capital Improvement Fund, the money of which has already been appropriated to the 318 fund. We just need to have the program created. Are there any questions?
Councilmember Cavaleri.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm guessing if we don't have projects earmarked already for this money, that you probably do have some sidewalks already in mind too.
Yes.
So, okay, all right. That's the only thing I wanted to be clear on. Thanks.
Other questions?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion then.
Okay,
Motion move to adopt an ordinance amending the 2023-2028 capital improvement plan to add a concrete sidewalk replacement program and approving a budget amendment appropriations increase of $100,000 from Road Improvement Fund 318 for the 2023 to 2024 biennium.
Second.
is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you,
very
Dan.
much.
Okay, we have no proposed new initiatives tonight. We have no study sessions, so that brings us to our consent agenda, which is just two items. It is council regular meeting minutes of December 5th, 2023 and December 12th, 2023. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The consent agenda is passed unanimously. Reports, Deputy City Manager.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So tonight I'm just going to very high level talk about a couple of the different 2023 project completions. I will have a more thorough list at our next meeting. I'll have something that you guys can have, and it'll be a handout. So some of the projects we completed are going to range from your 1 to 5 strategic 1 to 5 year strategic plan that started at the beginning of 2023. We moved to even, we started that long-term strategic plan envisioning. That'll be something that you guys really get into here this year. Then we'll move into, we did the budget amendment for the 23-24 budget. And with ARPA, we were able to complete our phone system implementation, and we are now starting the new year with all of our new phones from ARPA. And I just wanted to give Joe a shout out because he did that all by himself. We really appreciated it, and it went very smoothly. Our substation is nearing completion, so that should be finished here this year. We did get the camera system, that first phase in 2023, and the UAS program for the police is now implemented and was completed in 2023 as well. And then we did finish the police policy manual, the first draft in 2023, and so that is under legal review for 2024, and we expect to have that done probably by mid-year this year. So, and I think that is everything I have for now.
Any questions? Okay. Jody.
Right. Shaylin's gonna bring up the quick presentation. So this is not a full presentation about the success of Festival of Trees. However, it has been a success and we're happy with the results. Shaylin, you can go to the next slide. Thank you. So we were very excited to receive $2,800 plus in donations from participating merchants. We had the same number of merchants as we participate this year as we did last year. Last year we had about $600 in donations. So we've done well in donations. But the main thing that we're excited about regarding that is that kind of just like early adopters in a something new that's happening. We had, about 40 to 50 valid entries last year for the contest, and this year we had 91. So we more than doubled our valid entries from last year. So we're excited about that trajectory and what it means to increasing foot traffic and just kind of knowledge about what's happening in Mill Creek Town Center and hopefully in the future other areas of Mill Creek, which is definitely on our radar. So tonight I'm basically just going to be announcing the winners. I'm just going to give first names and where they're from, and then emails will go out to everybody tomorrow that will give them all the instructions on how they can collect their winnings. But they're all together. So you can go to the next slide. Thank you. So Pat from Mill Creek won the myofascial treatment plus a gift pack from Arasati Rehab, valued at over $1,000. If any of you know this location, they're across from LA Fitness, kind of on that end of Mill Creek Town Center. They were really excited to participate in that this year. They're hard to see because they're windows on the back side of the building, so nobody really knows they're there. And so they were excited for this opportunity to participate so that they could get the word out about what they do there. So check them out. Kendall from Linwood won a $100 gift card from Artisan Custom Framing. Fallon and Jack from Mill Creek each won a $50 Azul's gift card. Angela from Mill Creek won a gift bag from Banner Bank. Sina from Mill Creek won a 10-pack of classes from Bar 3. Shreya and Henley from Bothell won $25 gift cards from Bequest Coffee. Lori from Everett won a designer gingerbread house from Caldwell Banker Bain. Leah from Everett won a pair of Ray-Ban sunglasses from Eye Society, valued at $250. $25 Cold Stone gift cards donated by Expedia Cruises goes to Ethan of Snohomish and Suzanne, Parker, and Ohm, all from Mill Creek. Christina of Everett won the First Financial Northwest wine basket. Katie from Mill Creek won a $25 Frost gift card. Preston from Mill Creek gets 1 month of group swim lessons from the new Goldfish Swim School. That's going to be a hit. Sherry of Mill Creek and Adam from Bothell each won a beautiful coffee and hot chocolate gift basket courtesy of John L. Scott. Hayun Yan of Mill Creek won a $25 gift card from Kate's Gifts. The $25 gift card from La Palmera goes to Ryan of Bothell. $25 gift card from Lilac and Lemon goes to Amelia and Oliver from Everett. Nishtha of Mill Creek won a gift pack from Paddywhack. Clark from Everett won a kid-friendly gift bag from People's Bank. Gustavo from Mill Creek won a stunning watch from the Jewelry Source. It really is beautiful. A $300 value. Damien of Mill Creek won a Light Bright courtesy of Windermere, which is a super fun retro gift. They were excited about that. Chris and Shida from Mill Creek each won a Z Ultimate Fitness or Z Ultimate Self-Defense Kickstart enrollment package, which is a month-long package. They each won one of those. And last but not least, Elle from Bothell won the 360 Dental gift of Oral-B electric toothbrush gift basket worth over $200. So, and we also want to thank our co-sponsors, Mill Creek Town Center Association and Mill Creek Chamber and Kiwanis of Mill Creek for participating. Kiwanis is doing the hard work now of preparing to take down all taking down all of the vinyl and paint from the merchants who participated who want to offer a donation for that service. So we're super excited about the participation and more to come on that. Will you go to the next slide, Shaylin? Do I have access? Oh. So as I said before, an email instructions will go out and all the prizes are going to be actually over in Passport Services so that people can pick those up at their own convenience. They just have to bring a copy of their email. And then there we go. And if anyone knows a business in Mill Creek who wants to participate for next year, they can email us. Thank you. And
Great.
congratulations on your.
Thank you, Jody.
Great job, Jody.
Thank you.
Director Dodd.
Yeah, it's been mentioned several times already this evening, but I want to let you know officially, we received that Safe Streets for All grant that we were we're seeking, and we got it. You may have seen it quite a bit in the local press. We want to make sure we announce it here. Senator Patty Murray was a big proponent of this in terms of national program. And you'll see a lot of our other sister cities both got planning grants like we did on the order of a couple $100,000. There's also several $1 million grants that came out of that bipartisan infrastructure law for implementation. So we're really in that first step where this year we're going to go do the studies, and that'll be happening in 2024. We'll contract with someone to do this work. And in 2025 and beyond, you'll see projects that will be eligible because we've gone through this process, will be eligible for federal funds, or we could use our own funds or the state funds. So this is kind of really setting us up for what's called in our capital program is the citywide comprehensive safety action plan you've heard mentioned before. So just letting you know that we did get that. It's $160,000 matched by $40,000 from the city. And that was per what we had talked about when we had amended the CIP and the budget a couple of months ago. If you have any questions about it, be happy to take those. You will see more of that result. You'll see a contract that will come to you eventually for $200,000 for a study through one of the local engineering firms, probably.
Councilmember Cavaleri.
Thanks, Mayor. So Director Todd, the Safe Streets grant, I mean, what exactly does that mean, Safe Streets? I mean, I think we all have an idea.
Yeah, so for instance, yeah, there's lots of fine print here that I can't read without my glasses, but it's in our capital program. But for instance, it talks about reviewing the needs for policies like Safe Streets Schools. Remember that program in the past? You look at our policies for that. We've talked in the past about a traffic calming program. One of their elements here would be, how do you reduce speed, or how do you look at speeding issues? How did you look at low-cost safety options? So looking for clever ways to do things, but also kind of a chance to do some comprehensive looks at where are we missing sidewalks, where are we missing crosswalks, those kinds of things. So that the $200,000, you kind of get a chance to get a plan that'll probably last us for several years of projects that we'll pick off in terms of its highest priority.
Thank you.
Sure.
Other questions? Other staff reports? None? Okay. I've got a number of things. First, to start off, thank you for entrusting Stephanie and me to continue serving as mayor and mayor pro tem. We look forward to guiding us through or help keeping us moving forward on the long list of things we have to get done. So appreciate that. We met, city manager and I met with Representative Berg after our last meeting to talk about the legislation that she referenced that she's bringing forward to deal with, give us cities authority to help out private property owners with clean up homeless encampments. And so the city attorney, and we had some concerns which we raised with Representative Berg and gave her some language that she's going to incorporate. And I'm not sure if she's dropped that bill yet, but she was planning to. We also talked with her a little bit about annexations. You might recall that she sponsored the bill that reinstituted the sales tax rebate for cities as an incentive to annex. And we talked about that's a good start, but it still doesn't deal with all the potential issues. I know Director Todd remembers this. I think Councilmember Cavaleri might have been right before John's time. But when we last looked at going south down towards the casino, which would have had us pull in some residential areas, is right around the time we're discovering all the issues with stormwater over in Heatherwood West. And we decided we didn't want to spend $40 or $50 or $60,000 studying to find out what lies beneath. So we didn't do anything further. And so she said, well, since those are areas developed under the county, you should talk to Councilmember Mead. So I talked to Councilmember Mead. And they are open. He's open to moving forward with the idea of that they want those areas annexed. And so he's at least open as one of five to having a discussion about setting up as a county slush fund for cities to tap into, to have funding to study some of the issues with the annexation area, so we don't go into them blind. And then also to have further discussion about whether there might be county funding if we do find something, if we decide to look at an area, that we'd have some support from the county to do something about what problems we might find. So we've started that discussion. The other thing we talked about, we're setting up a meeting, I think for a couple of weeks. I mentioned it a couple months ago about doing some joint planning or looking at whether there could be some joint planning for McCollum Park, which may be more relevant now depending on what the wetlands reconnaissance determines at the DRCC property. So, but I think it's going to be Mayor Pro Tem, City Manager, Deputy City Manager, and Jared and Tom Teagan, the Parks Director, to sit down and at least just have a conversation about McCollum Park. I think that's all on the state. And Jared, in your packets was the retreat agenda for the 23rd and the 30th. It looks a little bit like it did in the prior years. So we're going to do a little bit of a SWOT analysis. I think Martin's going to do a short recap at the beginning of the first night on what our priorities were that we set last year, and just to have a summary of where we got to with achieving those over the last year. So we have a little bit of baseline as we move into looking at what's up for the coming year, 24, and then I think we're going to do the longer term, a couple year horizon in the first night, and then in the second night turn to 2024 and setting priorities. So noodle on that between now and next Tuesday night, but it's pretty similar to what we've done the last couple of years. Yeah, Andrew's going to do it again. We talked about that a couple months ago. And then next to last, you guys should have received an email from Karen Reed to set up times for the city manager's review. Martin's on his way to the Orient right now for vacation for a couple of weeks, but we're setting up a schedule to have his review completed by the end of February. So it'll be, we'll bring forward next week the scope that Karen has put forward, updating it from what we've done the past couple of years so we can all see that and bless that before we get off and running. But Karen's trying to be proactive. I asked her to go ahead and just not wait for us to bless the agenda or the review process, because then we know part of that process is going to include interviewing us. So we want to get that going so we don't hold her up. So that is that. And the last thing, go Dogs.
Yeah,
Well,
so that-
hopefully a week from tonight, we will be celebrating the third national championship in the University of Washington's history. Hopefully we'll be reporting on them beating the Michigan Wolverines, but let's keep our fingers crossed. This wasn't gray before last night. Mayor Pro Tem, any report?
Thank you, Mayor. First, I also want to start off by thanking you for entrusting me to be your Mayor Pro Tem again for the next 2 years. And it is an honor, and I really appreciate your confidence and support. Second, Happy New Year to everybody. I hope everybody, it kind of jumped right in on us today. So I hope everybody's ready to rock and roll because it kind of hit pretty fast today. So welcome to the new year. We got a lot to do this year and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great year. Just want to give you guys a heads up that the legislative committee will be getting back working. No rest for the weary. And so next up, we will be starting to tweak what we're going to be working on and discussing with the county. So just so you guys have that in your minds that we are going to start working on that. I know Councilmember Steckler asks sometimes about that. So we are going to start that dialing in on that process now. So just wanted to let you guys have that heads up. And that is it today, I think.
Councilmember Cavaleri?
No report, Mayor. Happy New Year, everyone.
Councilmember Steckler?
No report, Mayor, but I did have a suggestion on the planning retreat.
Okay.
Because I hadn't heard anything on the agenda, but just a suggestion, as we've gone through this a couple of times, it might help to frame it. If we could take maybe some of this stuff off that's repetitious and insert an opportunity for each council member to take maybe just 3 minutes for each council member to state their expectations from this planning retreat, what they'd like to see come out of it. It might be interesting to see what similarities there are, what different expectations there are, or if those expectations could possibly be met during those 2 days. I think that would be a different opportunity in the planning session. I just thought that might be an interesting, different approach than some of the things that we've done that have been somewhat similar in the past. I thought that would be intriguing. Expectations from each individual council member, limited to like 3 minutes, not because I could take 15 or 20, as you know, but we just would limit it. Might be a good opportunity. Thank you.
See what we can do. Councilmember Allison?
I have no reports. Happy New Year, everyone.
Councilmember Paddock?
Happy New Year as well. And there were a few of us representing there were a few of us that attended the swearing in of a new Snohomish County Sheriff today. And the only reason I want to call that out, not only were there a few of us that were there, but it was an incredible turnout, literally standing room only. A very, very diverse group of folks that were there. And the way she had really, I think, honored the folks that were in the position and the work that they've been doing through the transition, her excitement to be back in the Snohomish County Sheriff's Department. She'd been there for 30 years, took a little hiatus with the Bothell Sheriff's Department, the Bothell Police Department. And her focus on really the way she described it, the safety of the entirety of the community, accountability and dignity of the department. I just thought that was worth mentioning as obviously being in her purview now. So welcome to Susanna Johnson to that role.
Okay, that brings us to audience communication for the evening. Anyone in chambers? And see a nod of heads, no. Anyone online? Okay. I'm not going to promise that every meeting this year is going to be an hour.
Hey, listen, we elected you. so you do this
Everybody's
every
having a
meeting,
case
okay?
of everything jumped in on
It's your
this
elected
today.
promise.
If you'll help me hold to it, I will do my part. Okay, with that, we have made it through our agenda. We have no executive section. We'll adjourn the meeting at 6:57 and go Dogs.
Good night, everybody. Happy New.
Happy New Year, Will.